Hi, I am Michael. I live with my parents, grandparents, and brother. I don't understand the point of having such a big family. Living in a big family is a headache. I am never alone. There is always someone or the other to bother me. Once it so happened that my family planned a picnic with my cousins and uncles and aunts. I thought it would be a nice chance to spend some time with my friends. So I told them that I would stay back to complete my homework. My folks were about to cancel the plan, but somehow I managed to make them go. Finally, after a long time, I was alone at home. I started calling my friends to see who was free for an outing. After around 10 phone calls, I came upon John, who was free for the day. The rest of them were out with their families. So, we decided to go to a nearby lake. We picked our bicycles and set off. As luck would have it, I met with an accident on the way. One moment, I was in terrible pain, and the next, I fainted. When I opened eyes, I was in a hospital with a fractured leg and some bandages here and there. John hadn't hurt himself, so he called my parents and told them about the accident. Soon I was at home in my bed. I knew everyone was angry that I had lied to them. Mom did ask me about the homework, but Dad told her to keep quiet for some time. From that day on, I saw a different kind of family. Mom cooked for me whatever I wanted and made sure that I ate my medicines on time. Dad brought me magazines, books, and video games to keep me busy. Whenever it pained somewhere, Grandma would gently massage me, while Grandpa would tell me heroic stories of his younger spirits to cheer me up. Whenever he was free, my little brother would play a board game with me. That little chap would do anything I asked him to do. At weekend, my uncles and aunts brought me gifts and flowers. My cousin Ryan, who was in the same class as I was, brought me homework from school to keep me updated. My other cousins told me jokes and stories to keep me in good humor. 2 months passed like this, and I didn't feel bored or like a handicap even for a single day. It was then that I realized the importance of family. None of my friends were there to support me. I can't imagine what would have happened to me if I was all alone. I apologized to Mom about lying to her the other day. She kissed me and said, "It's okay. I know you have learnt your lesson." I thank God for giving me such a loving family. I love my family so much that I can't live without it. David was a young but a very angry boy. He lost his anger at very small things. Whenever David was angry, he said very bad things to everybody. He used foul language and did not think before he spoke. His parents, teachers, and friends kept asking him to try to control his anger, but this made him angrier. He would just stomp off from the discussion saying, "Oh, stop nagging me. You are making me angry now." One day, Dad got a wooden plank, some nails, and a hammer for David. "David, I have got something for you. Come here," said David's father. David came running to his father as he, like all other kids, loved surprises. But when he saw the things, he was surprised. "What's this for, Dad?" asked David. "Well, David, this will help you to control your anger," replied Dad. The moment he heard the mention of his anger, he started losing it again. Dad saw that David had started losing his anger, so he smiled and said, "Every time you lose your anger, David, strike a nail in the wooden plank." By the time Dad finished what he wanted to say, David had already lost his anger. He stormed off with the wooden plank and started striking a nail in it. Now, whenever David felt angry, whenever he came across something he didn't like or someone who didn't listen or act according to him, he struck a nail on the plank. This went on and on and on. Soon the plank was full of nails because David was angry with every situation and person around for one reason or the other. Then one day, Dad went to David and, taking the plank in his hands, started taking out the nails one by one. David, curious, kept looking at what his dad did. Once all the nails were out, Dad said, "Look at these holes, David. Each time you struck a nail in the plank represents each time you said something bad to somebody in anger. Each bad word left a hole in somebody's heart. These holes cannot be repaired, and neither can the ones that you created, David. This is the reason why we should not get angry and say things that we are not supposed to say." "Oh my God! I never realized that I was hurting someone so bad, Dad. From now on, I promise that I will try to control my anger so that I do not hurt anybody," said David. "But Dad, what are the ways in which I can control my anger?" asked David. Dad answered, "Well, first of all, every time you lose your anger, count till 20 slowly before reacting. If this does not help, then start thinking happy thoughts. Alternatively, you can try to move away from the thought that made you angry. Try these small things and I am sure that you will be able to control your anger." David was surprised that controlling his anger could be so easy. He said, "I will definitely try these techniques, Dad," and hugged his dad. Everybody was surprised to see the change in David. He was more patient. and had started treated everybody nicely. He had stopped using foul language and was polite to everyone. All this happened because he had learned to control his anger and was thus consequently happier. Elisa had a strange habit. She would switch on the lights and the fans of the class when everybody left the class. She would also overturn the dustbin and kick all the waste around. One day, Betty saw what Elisa did every day. She thought to herself, I must teach Elisa to be a responsible person. She is quite irresponsible. It seems she does not love our school. But Betty knew that this might prove a little tough. The next day, when everybody filed out of class, Betty hung a little back. Elisa, as was her habit, switched on the fans and the lights. Betty patiently waited for Elisa to do this and then she switched them off. Elisa, we have limited resources and therefore we must switch off the fans and the lights when we are not using them, started Betty. Oh, yeah, sure. Miss Goody 2 feet, exclaimed Elisa and stormed off. Betty followed her and said, Wait, Elisa, listen up. Elisa stopped in her tracks. Betty caught up with her and looked at her sincerely. How would you like if somebody did that to your room? Asked Betty. What do you mean? Said Elisa. I know that you are the one who kicks the waste around in the class when nobody is watching. Well, our classrooms are our rooms and we should be responsible for keeping them clean and tidy, said Betty. This got Elisa thinking. After thinking for some time, she said, I never thought this way, Betty. Betty smiled and said, Well, we sometimes fail to see some things as our own things, even when they are our own. If we take care of our school, the school will take care of us. How? Asked Elisa. Let's go to the library and I will explain this further, replied Betty. Look at all these books. We love reading them. But how bad do you feel when you find the book torn or pages missing in the book? Asked Betty. Actually, quite bad, said Elisa. If we take care of our books, we will find them a joy to read. I try to tape the torn pages and ensure that I don't read the books while I am eating. This saves them from getting stained. I also do not write in the books as I know that a clean book is a pleasure to read, said Betty. Wow! Was all that Elisa could manage? Similarly, when in the canteen, I throw the waste in the dustbin so that nobody trips over the food, falls and spoils his or her clothes. When in the lab, I use the equipments in accordance with the teacher's instructions so that the equipments and I both are safe. If I borrow something from the school, I try to return it in the same condition so that I can use it the next time also. I would really not like somebody borrowing my things and not returning them in the same condition, continued Betty. Elisa just looked in awe at Betty. As they were walking to the water place, Betty saw a little girl leaving the tap open. She immediately turned the tap off and said, "It does not matter if it is me or somebody else that leaves the tap open. It is my responsibility to ensure that important resources like electricity and water are not wasted. This will make my school neat, presentable, and environment friendly." At last, Elisa said, "Betty, you have changed my opinion about school. I never thought of the school as being my own. From now on, I will make sure that I respect my school and its things and treat them as I treat my own belongings." Betty was very happy when she heard this. She hugged Elisa and said, "This school will now become a better place, Elisa." From that day on, Elisa was often seen picking up things on her way and throwing them in the waste basket. In fact, one day she was also seen teaching another little boy how to respect school just the way she had learnt it from